So, our ride. It was very interesting, wasn't it? The big question, would I recommend Equilab?
All of the things we're taking, 'cause we are young and we're ashamed.
Hey guys, welcome back. This week's video is very exciting. It is kindly in collaboration with Equilab. I feel very honoured to be working with such an amazing company. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about Equilab just in case you haven't heard of them. So Equilab is a tech company based in Sweden that uses your smartphone's capabilities to track your horse's movement. So anything from their gait distribution, their beat, their stride, their distance, the turn distribution, the number of transitions that you do, and so much more. And all you have to do to get this incredible source of information is to just simply download Equilab onto your phone, whether that's iOS or Android, and just have your phone in your pocket while you ride. It's really that simple. So there are three core features of Equilab. Firstly, you have the tracking and analysing. So this helps to give us riders some really detailed information about our riding, which gives us the ability to be able to find patterns in our training. So within the app you can put in the type of training that you're doing on that specific day. You can rate how your performance has gone, how your horse's performance has gone. You can put in the type of ground that you're working your horse on, which I think is super important to be aware of. You can see how far you've gone, how long you've ridden for. You can also see how much energy you and your horse have used while you've been riding. You can also see if you've worked your horse evenly on both reins within the different gaits. And you can also add in notes as to how your horse went on that particular ride, as well as putting photos in, so it's kind of like a visual diary for how your horse has gone on that ride. The second core feature of Equilab is the stable and horse management. So Equilab has created an equestrian customized calendar. You can put in whether your horse has done training, had the farrier out, had a medical appointment, been to a competition, had a rest day, or other. And I found this is really helpful to keep on top of all the different care and maintenance that goes into keeping your horse well. In the past I've kept this information within my normal diary or planner, but this information gets lost and you have to flick through so much to find when your horse was last wormed or when the farrier was last out. So having it in one place in a dedicated app I've found is really helpful. In the past week you can see that I've had the farrier out, I've had the vet out to sedate Archie so I could clip him. I've also wormed both my boys. So having frequently used this feature over the past couple of weeks, I can definitely speak to the value of having this tool available in Equilab. And the third key feature of Equilab is of course the safety tracking. Equilab gives you the ability to share your location live with a close contact of your choice. This is a super important feature to have, especially if you go out hacking a lot. I take Splash out on the road quite a lot, and my roads where I live are very typical country roads where the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour. So having such an amazing safety feature on the app is really important to me, and having used this feature on Equilab I don't think I could go back to not having it, because it really does help reassure me that I am going to be safe because people know where I am. Equilab has described this safety feature as kind of like having an imaginary friend watching over you and making sure everything's going okay. So that's kind of a brief overview of what Equilab is about. Equilab have very kindly given me access to the premium version of the app for a year, so I can get a true feel for how this app is to use. I would like to say they haven't given me a script to say or anything like that, so these thoughts and opinions really are my own, and I wouldn't want to promote anything to you guys that I personally didn't like. Yeah. So I've been using Equilab for the past couple of weeks, almost a month now, and I don't know why I haven't gotten onto it sooner. It's given me so much information that I find incredibly helpful bringing both my boys back into work. Each time I ride I just turn Equilab on and it tracks how the ride's going. I've got both Splash and Archie loaded up on my stable. They've got their own profiles on there, and so when I finish a ride I just put in the details, which horse I rode, what type of training we did. It's really simple and gives you so much information, which is incredibly helpful. So over the past wee while I've been using it, I have done some pole work, I have done hacking, and it's been really accurate and helpful for all of those different types of rides. You can also plan on here, which I think is a really helpful wee tool that you can have. You also have the feature of being able to chat with other riders on there, and I didn't know this, but even if you don't have your own horse, like if you lease a horse or you ride at a riding school, you can still put that horse in on your profile and you can still track your rides on it. And if there are other riders that also ride this horse, you can share this information with them and you can see how that horse is doing, which I think is really cool because not everyone has access to their own horse. Alongside keeping track of when they were wormed, when the farrier came, and when they're ridden, I've also put in here that Archie was clipped on the 2nd of September. For this, we did have to get the vet out and he did need to be sedated, which was quite amusing, I won't lie, but it's really helpful to have this information in one place so I can keep a record of it. But with all this talking, I thought it would be quite interesting if we put Equilab through its paces. So I'm just about to go out and take Splash for a ride, and I thought I would vlog how it goes. Splash is coming back into work after he had a number of months off with an injury, so Equilab is becoming a very helpful tool for me to keep an eye on how things are going and how he's progressing with being brought back into work. But before we go and take Splash out for a wee jump, I'm going to bring Splash in and make him look a little bit less like a bush pony and more like a show jumper, because he hasn't been trimmed up for quite a few months. His mane is very long, his tail is very long, and he kind of just looks a bit feral, so we're going to need to change that. He is not clipped, so he is in his winter fluff. He has also got a winter bod going on because he was out for a bit over winter, so just excuse that and the slight little tummy, but we don't body shame over here. Okay, so we have one very fluffy, one slightly tubby, but very cute Splash. As you can see, his mane is horrendous and his dock is also super overgrown. So I've got a lot of work to do, so let's get into it. Look how long that is. Ew. I just love the little sunroof you've got going on here. Beautiful. Oh, isn't that just beautiful? These long, luscious... oh dear. Going to turn on Equilab. All you have to do is just press start riding. It's pretty simple, and it'll track you around while you do your ride. So let's go. Hello, welcome to Voiceover Tabitha. I thought I would talk you through how this ride went and what I was feeling while I was riding. So like I said, Splash is coming back into work, so he's lost a lot of strength through his core and his hindquarters, and as we're going around he's kind of on the forehand. When I'm looking at it now, it doesn't look as bad as it felt, but he felt really heavy, like a train going into the ground. I'll put a diagram on the forehand kind of looks like. The diagram is kind of more exaggerated than what Splash is, but he's definitely still on the forehand. So because of this, I did lots of upward transitions to try and help lift him up off the forehand and engage his hind end, and I also incorporated some trotting poles. These help kind of get him to lift and give more suspension in the trot, and also lift up off the forehand and work over his back and through his body, and you can kind of see the difference in his trot as he goes over it. He's also not really going forward into the contact, which is partly my fault. Then after the trotting poles, I popped him over a few jumps. You can see he's really jumping flat and low, and that's because he doesn't have that strength behind or core strength to hold himself. So I didn't put the jumps up because that's not really fair on him, and isn't really the purpose of this ride. But he was super cute, super happy to have a wee pop round the jumps, and he was just a happy little boy. Hello, welcome back. So, our ride. It was very interesting, wasn't it? So like I said, Splash is coming back into work, and today's session really showed a number of areas that we've got to work on as I continue to bring him back into work. If we go onto Equilab and we have a look at this training session, we can see that I rode for 45 minutes and 33 seconds, and I rode a total of 3.8 kilometers. Interestingly, I worked him more on the left rein than the right rein, which I can understand because his left rein is his stronger rein than his right rein. So going forward, I definitely need to make sure that I am working him equally on both sides so that his muscles develop evenly. I also noticed while I was riding that I'd set some very high expectations for both Splash and myself that were kind of unrealistic because he's had a lot of time off with that injury, and the work that I have been doing with him, I have been doing road rides, which isn't bad, but the work I was doing with him on the road rides is different to what I'd be doing in a schooling session. Having said that, I did notice a big change in his spookiness. So he's naturally quite a spooky horse, but having taken him on a number of road rides these past couple of weeks, I noticed that even in the wind he was really settled, he was really willing to work, and he was enjoying the work that he was doing. And it's also interesting to know the distance that I've worked him for, so I can see how he's building up his fitness, and it also shows me kind of like what my tendencies are when I ride, so I can kind of work to change things up and keep things interesting for the boys. So I kind of talked you through how the ride went, and hopefully the diagrams kind of helped show you what I was feeling and what you can see in the video, and what I'm meaning when I say he's on the forehand. Or he doesn't have that core strength to hold him, or he's not sitting up on his haunches. So having that information in the back of my head, I'll definitely be designing my training sessions to better suit Splash, to help build those muscles back up to where they were prior to his injury. So the big question, overall, would I recommend Equilab? Absolutely. Without a doubt. After this year is up, I'll definitely be using my own money to pay for the premium version, but it is important to note that Equilab does provide a free option which still has so much information that you can access. Now that I've used it, I don't think I could go back to not having it. This is something that I'd recommend to my friends. This is genuinely my opinion. I really recommend Equilab. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I just want to say a massive thank you to Equilab for reaching out to me and collaborating with me on this video. It is a huge privilege, and I think the app is wonderful. But I hope you all are having a lovely week. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.